Thanks to the support as a channel member, Ollie Collins. It's not the Champions League final today. That's coming tomorrow. Worry not. Today, we've got to make sure we're actually in the Champions League again next season, because that's not a foregone conclusion just yet. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 19 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have as many games as it's going to take to secure a Champions League spot for next year. Realistically, I'm confident. We're probably going to be doing Wolves and Chelsea and then not bothering to show you the Leeds game, because Leeds basically relegated, almost relegated, in a relegation battle. And I'd like to think we should be able to secure the Champions League with Wolves, because this is what the league table looks like. We've got 3 games remaining, but a lot of the teams around us only have the 2 games remaining. If we beat Wolves and Liverpool don't win their next game, which I think they're playing at the same time, that will be enough. Otherwise, we just need Liverpool to drop some points at some point. Beating Chelsea is a bit more of a challenge, because they're top of the league with a game in hand. So Chelsea will feel like they're quite a good side at the moment. But the opportunity to beat Chelsea and hand the Premier League title to Manchester United would amuse me. And then we've obviously got Manchester City coming up in the Champions League final. So we've got stuff going on with all of the rest of the top 6 teams over the course of the rest of the season. We just need to make sure we win more often than we lose, and fingers crossed end up back in those Champions League qualification spots again for next year. Because although the season is going well at the moment, there's still the possibility it could end in disaster if we end up finishing 5th and not winning the Champions League. We're not in it next year, and that would be very problematic. So this is the team for the Wolves game. Must-win Wolves game. We're going with Gilo in goal, a back four of Saka, Gabriel Asante and Tamela, Martinez and Barrow in midfield, Magno, Pedri and Camara supporting Delap up front. Let's just throw everything at Wolves. A big win here. It doesn't even have to be a big win. And I know we've got big win in us. We learned that a day or 2 back against Barcelona. But we've also got big defeats in us as well, as we've learned against Barcelona and against Manchester United. We're a very Jekyll and Hyde side. Hopefully do we want to be Jekyll or Hyde? I know in the original story, you probably want to be Dr. Jekyll more often than not, but sometimes you just want to run wild over your opposition and go all Mr. Hyde over them. Oh, literature reviews with Kev. Meanwhile, we're 1-0 up. Magno has put us ahead after less than 10 minutes. The ground doesn't look full, by the way. There's a lot of empty seats around the Emirates Stadium for an Arsenal side that is potentially mere weeks away from making history and winning the Champions League for the first time in the history of the club, I think. Arsenal ever won the Champions League? I'm going to assume they haven't. I feel like that's something I'd probably have heard if they had have done. But, you'd think the place would be packed out, full of Kev love. But it seems that's not the case. I keep getting described in the comments as the second coming of Arsene Wenger. And I feel like maybe there's dissenting voices in the fans, even though we've had this massive turnaround over the last year and a half since I arrived that could culminate in a Champions League win. You'd think there'd be absolutely universal support for old Kev, but apparently not. And now Wolves have equalised 1-1, 28 minutes gone, but we've got a throw, and it's going to be Saka to try and make something from this. It ends up with Barrow, slides it across to Camara, and those 2 wingers score some goals. I think between the 2 wingers, Camara and Magno, and then Delap and João Pedro as our 2 sort of rotated striker options, I wouldn't be surprised if between the 4 of them, they've got 100 goals this season. They're all hovering around the 25 goal mark, maybe slightly below, but I think Delap might be slightly above. And certainly by the end of the season, I would expect those as a 4 to have 100 goals between them, which is not too shabby, considering you only ever have 3 of them on the pitch at the same time, and they're all going to be in that 20 to 30 goal range by the end of the season, which is mad, really. Camara charging forward on the counter-attack, trying to add another one to his tally, but he's got Delap in the middle. He doesn't need him. Rui Camara's just got on his own. And there's goal 24 of the season for him. I compared him to Cristiano Ronaldo in the last episode. I genuinely think, bearing in mind how young he is, we've got a future Ballon d'Or winner in the shape of Rui Camera. Just look how good he is. Even a foul on him in the penalty area, I'm not going down. I want my goal. And his goal he got. Tamela with the throw, and it's Martinez to Pedri. Pedri plays it back to Martinez again. Across to Saka. Saka shoots from range, but the Wolves goalkeeper is equal to it, and it remains 3-1 as we're moments away from the half-time whistle. Camera now to Delap. Camera's looking for a first-half hat-trick here. Tamela's come forward on the overlap, cuts it back to Camera. Camera across to Pedri. Pedri looking to pick his spot. Does it the second time of asking, but the goalkeeper once again is there to make the save. Despite conceding 3 goals, the Wolves goalkeeper has had a half-decent game in that first half, made a couple of decent saves. In fact, looking at ratings-wise, I think he's the best player on the pitch for Wolves. So does show just how relentless we've been with throwing the ball forward, throwing players forward and creating chances. Barrow now in midfield to Martinez, who plays it over the top for Delap. The first we've seen of Delap today, and he thunders it into the post from the edge of the area. We have had chances to be much further ahead in this game than we are. It's another example, looking at the match stats, of us just absolutely running riot over an opposition team. The only thing is, because of a little bit of defensive sloppiness, 2 bits of defensive sloppiness, despite being by far and away the better team, it's still a relatively even scoreline. 3-2 to us with 30 minutes to play, 35 minutes to play. There's every chance Wolves get back into this game. And just looking at the match stats, they absolutely shouldn't be getting back into this game because we've been so much better than them. 16 shots to their 5, 9 of them on target to their 3. Our XG is nearly 4 times what theirs is. We've had 7 corners to their 1. 89% pass completion. We've just been a very good team. And Pedri just underlining that again with his 7th goal of the season for him. He's not as much of a goal threat as the rest of the front four normally are, but Pedri is always in there, pulling the strings, releasing the runners, and occasionally weighs in with a little goal of his own as well. 4-2 now. We don't know how to defend, but defending is for losers. I think that's what we're learning here. Right, we're going to take Camera off. We want to save him for future adventures. So Carlos Alberto is going to come on for him. Likewise, Magno can come off. Almada can come on for him. And then we'll stick Pedri out onto the left. And Almada can be the string puller for the final 20 minutes or so of the game. And we just need to continue monitoring fitness levels. It looks like Barrow is probably the other guy who needs to come off. So, although my assistant manager is saying Tamela, Saka's tired as well. I think Barrow is probably the most irreplaceable of everybody if he were to get an injury. If we lost Tamela, we've got Remy on his way back from injury. We've got Williams who could come in at right back as well. Saka, we know we've got Tierney who can come in. We've got Asante who can go over there. Whereas Barrow, I really don't want to have to play Tommy Doyle in the Champions League final. Although I'm sure he'd love it. Delap is in here, forcing the save from the Wolves goalkeeper. 89 minutes on the clock. We've still got the 2-goal advantage. Wolves, we've got a corner. So fingers crossed, this is all wrapped up. I don't think Liverpool are playing now, but I think they play before we play Chelsea. So we might still be able to go into that Chelsea game already knowing we've qualified for the Champions League and just go in to play spoilers for them. Otherwise, we might have to go in there knowing we need a result, or not necessarily need a result against Chelsea because we still have Leeds to play, but looking for a result against Chelsea just to secure things so I don't have to do a 3-match episode. I don't know if I'll be able to talk for 3 matches solidly. Maybe like streaming. And I don't talk this much and this loud and this emotionally when I'm streaming unless we're having a ridiculous game. We had a ridiculous game earlier in the week. If you've not checked out the LOLLUJO live channel yet, for the replays, you're looking for the last Lanethley stream replay, which would have been out a few days at this point, because we've moved clubs now in that save, so you should probably come and check out the streams to see who we're managing now. We're doing a few afternoon streams this week, in fact. But yeah, the last Lanethley stream, you want to go and watch that. Special things happened in that. I'm talking of special things. We've just grabbed our 5th goal today. It's Liam Delap again. I didn't actually notice what his tally for the season was. I think he's pushing 30 goals. I was too busy advertising my Twitch channel to actually read what was going on the screen. But Arsenal 5, Wolves 2. Balls in your court, Liverpool. You need to find a way to get some points on the board, or else we are there. Let's just jump to the Premier League thing. And when do Liverpool play? Liverpool are away against Newcastle tomorrow. So yeah, before the Chelsea game, we'll know what's going on there. If Newcastle can beat Liverpool, then we're in the Champions League without having to play any more games. Liverpool drew against Newcastle. So this is what the Premier League table looks like. Liverpool, in fact, playing now as well away against Burnley. So as long as we get at least a point against Chelsea, then we're definitely in the Champions League. At least a point or better than what Liverpool do. So, or even if Liverpool win, if we win too, it's still a 6-point gap. We're basically there. We've got a much better goal difference than them. We're going to struggle to bottle this Champions League spot by now. Hopefully, we mathematically secure it in this game. And we've rotated a little bit to try and keep players fresh. Remy's not as close to being back fit again as I thought he was. He's not going to play again this season. He's still got 3 to 6 weeks out. I thought he was going to be back sooner. So he can't come back in yet. João Pedro is going to be missing the rest of the league season. Will hopefully be back for the Champions League final, maybe even for the FA Cup final. But we have been able to just swap the defence around a little bit. Asante goes out to left back. Tamela moves in from right back to centre back. Williams coming in at right back. And that's the only change, just freshening up things at the back a little bit. Got to keep an eye on these guys a little bit further forward, especially with João Pedro injured, who'd normally be first substitute option for most of the front three. But in the circumstances, we're playing against a Chelsea side who are looking to secure a Premier League title. We need our best players on the pitch as much as we can. So the best players on the pitch is what we are going to deliver. We've obviously got a couple of Chelsea old boys in this team as well. Delap and Pedri, both were at Chelsea for quite a long time and never really made the breakthrough there. Weren't able to get any game time. So it's going to be interesting to see how much those two boys enjoy getting one over on the club that never gave them a chance. If that ends up being what happens, because they've both come into Arsenal, both become very regular players, and Chelsea are probably looking on now thinking, probably should have given those two a chance. Magno, see, the ball's just boinged around in the air. The ball boings around in the area and ends up all the way back with Asante at left back, who tries to get the move going again through Magno. Magno with the cross. Camera nods it down to Barrow, when perhaps Camera should be aiming forward a little bit more with that. Martinez playing it back to Gabriel again. And once again, we look to build it up from the back, and Camera's in now, and Camera scores a 25th goal of the season for Rui Camera. He is on fire at the moment, and I was ever so slightly critical of him in the build-up, but he knew what he was doing. He just wanted the perfect chance, and he was just, no, go back, build again, give me a better chance, then we get the better chance. It's a lovely pass from Martinez, who is getting better and better as the season goes on in that playmaker role in midfield. Remember, Martinez is still not yet 21 years old and is more often than not pulling all the strings and just running the game from midfield. And it was a lovely pass through to Camera. And of course, a lovely finish from him. Two of the younger members of this Arsenal side. I know we've assembled a team that was much younger than the one we had before, but the likes of Magno, Pedri, Delap, they're all 25, 26. It's Camera and Martinez who are the early 20s boys who could potentially be here for the next 10 years and be the players that Arsenal are built around for years to come, and showed just there just how good they are joining together for the goal. And as things stand, this would put us ahead of Manchester City and up into third place. Relevant, of course, not just because it qualifies us for next year's Champions League if it ends like this, but also because Manchester City are the team we're playing in the Champions League final. So it would be a nice little psychological boost going into tomorrow's episode if we end up finishing above them in the league. Magno now, trying to show that he's not going to be outdone by Camera, has come over to Camera's wing. He's just continuing his run. Delap's lurking in the middle. Magno decided to go it alone, and his effort goes wide. Probably should be squaring that to Delap there, but he just looked like he'd got his head down and decided he was going to score a wonder goal or give the ball away. It was option 1 or 2. And in the end, he went for option 2. Camera is tiring again. It's time to take him off. He's had a long season. For one so young, he's had a very long season. So let's get... You know what? I'm going to bring Saka on the right-hand side. We don't often give him the opportunity to play out there, but when he does play out there, he is always a threat. We're going to take off Magno, bring on Almada. Pedri can go out there. And then, you know what? We'll do the normal changes. Doyle can come on for Barrow as well. They're the three that seem more often than not to need rotating out the side, to need resting. And it probably makes sense looking at the roles they play. They are the three, along with the two fullbacks probably, that are doing the most running. Barrow's in there playing as a box-to-box midfielder. The two wingers are up and down constantly, as are the wing-backs. But the wing backs, I'm less precious about rotating them game to game, as you've seen today. The previous match we had who was at left back? Oh, Saka. Of course, we had Saka and Tamela at left back. Saka and Tamela as the fullbacks in the first game on today's episode, and now we've got Asante and Williams. So I'm not against just rotating them around and changing them around on a game to game basis, which I don't do as much with the three who always get substituted, but. Good to see Saka getting an opportunity a bit further forward. That's a lovely save again from Gilo. I've said a few times, best shot stopper I've had on Football Manager in a long, long time. And as he gets older, if he can improve the other areas of his game as well, he is going to be the best goalkeeper in the world. But just from a pure shot stopping basis, he is so often brilliant. It gives me a lot of confidence having such a good shot stopper in the side, even looking at that Chelsea have got my boy Donnarumma from the Streamer Showdown, my hero from the Streamer Showdown from Leicester. Me and Donnarumma go way back, even though I can't pronounce his name properly, apparently. Almada dances past his defender. This is beautiful from Almada, and just like Magno before him, rather than playing it to the lap, who's just stood there in the middle waiting for the pass, he's decided to be fancy on his own. I hope they're not getting a little bit too overconfident and over fancy in what they're doing, our two wide players. I mean, bottom line, it looks like we're going to secure a victory over a very good Chelsea side today, so it doesn't really matter. But there's been a couple of times where they probably could have passed and led to a goal, which hopefully Saka will do here. There you go. There's your example of what happens when you pass. Whereas a couple of the guys have been a little bit selfish in what they've been up to. Did that say a 12th goal of the season for Almada? We have got so many players on so many goals in this side. This is a very free-scoring, attacking side where goals could come from anywhere. And it's a very good goal again, 2-0 to Arsenal. And Chelsea's still probably going to win the league, but we've just sent a little message out that, you know what, we could win it next year. And I know I've said I'll end the series if we win the Champions League, and I still think that probably should. But on the flip side of that, I'm thinking, can I really end the series if we've not won the league? So regardless of what happens tomorrow, do we have to do at least one more year to try and win the league with Arsenal, or go somewhere else and win the league maybe? Let me know down in the comments what you think we should do. Should we be ending the series if we win the Champions League tomorrow? But there is your well, in fact, it's not actually giving me confirmation we're in the Champions League. We know we are because no one can catch us now. But for some reason, the game hasn't confirmed it. I'm just checking. We do still get... Oh, because it's not sure. Yeah, because we could still finish fourth. And fourth wouldn't be a Champions League spot if an English side wins the Europa League. Is that what that's saying? I don't know who's in the Europa League final. Euro Cup, isn't it? It's called in game. Because I haven't got the real name fixed on. So, okay, so if Spurs win the Champions League, if Spurs win the Europa League, fourth place doesn't get in the Champions League. Is that what that means? Did we steal a Champions League spot from somebody last year? Because that's brilliant if we did. No, Wolves still got in. Maybe it's to do with who gets through into the group stages. Maybe Wolves had to qualify. I don't know. I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're in the Champions League. Of that, I am like 95% sure. So I'm not going to show you the Leeds game. Let's just assume we won, and we'll be back tomorrow for the FA Cup final, the Champions League final, and potentially, depending on what I decide, and obviously the outcome of the game, might be the last episode of the series. I think I am leaning towards probably doing another year to make sure we win the league. Again, let me know. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.